I put the slide up calling the mystery book. Have you guessed a little bit what book in the Bible is the most denigrated of all of them? And it's amazing that even among Christians, there are many that look at this particular book as spurious or allegorical or what have you. Let's talk about the gospel. We use that term all the time. Now, often I'll be repeating myself from other studies, but you need to understand each one of these studies try to make freestanding. So if it's a little, there's places it's repetitious, I apologize. But the gospel defined, we use that term so often. What specifically is the gospel? Well, it's the good news, yes, but what specific good news? And the gospel is defined as, in 1 Corinthians 15, first 4 verses, Paul says, "For I delivered unto you, first of all, that which I also received, how that Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures." Then he goes on, of course, for the most important chapter in the Bible. That's a shocking statement to say, but I think 1 Corinthians 15 is the most important. The reason I say that is if that isn't true, we have nothing. Paul would admit that. If Christ has not risen from the dead, etc., that's what the chapter is all about. But he defines the gospel right up front, and the gospel has 3 things. Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he rose again the third day. Thanks to Mel Gibson's mammoth effort on the movie The Passion. Now, there's some people that have some difficulties with it, but I think they're splitting hairs. I think he did a fantastic job as a filmmaker. And even though there's some traditional overtones to parts of it, nothing harmful, I don't believe. I think everyone should go and see it twice. Once to experience it for themselves, and wants to take a friend. But the only thing that's misleading about the movie, as far as I'm concerned, is it doesn't get across. I don't think you could get across the idea that you need to, that the crucifixion of Christ is not a tragedy. It was an achievement on our behalf. It was tragic that it needed to be done, perhaps, but he did that willfully on your behalf, mine. The gospel is that Christ died for our sins, and he didn't just die, he fulfilled hundreds of specifications that were very precisely laid out over 1,000 years earlier. Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures. Key point. That's one of 3 things. Second point is that he was buried. Only Paul emphasized that because he makes, in this letter to the Corinthians, he makes a big issue of the baptism and all that. He makes the analogy there. That Christ died for our sins according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the Scriptures. That's the gospel. What's interesting, what he doesn't mention, he doesn't talk about Christ's teachings. A lot of people, I've been a lot of great teachers around through history. Christ's teachings are not the issue. He doesn't talk about the miracles. Christ did many miracles. And there are many people that will concede that he probably did some miracles. That's not the gospel. The gospel is that he died for our sins, yours and mine, according to the Scriptures, that he was buried, that he rose again the third day, according to the Scriptures. Now, how many was that familiar to you in the past? All of us, most of you. Okay, good. See, the question I want to raise is, where in the Scriptures does it say that he would rise on the third day?